Welcome to class, friends. How are you doing? It's another beautiful Friday session. I hope you're ready and excited to learn this evening. Thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Faith Michael. I'm the president of Free Leaders Book Club Community. Yes, I'm a coach, a thought leader, an author. I wear so many hats. But today we're going to be talking about smart note taking. It's a powerful skill that I think everyone should learn, no matter where you are. It's essential that you understand how to navigate note taking. Welcome to class. Today is your first time stopping by. Please tell us your name and where you're joining from. For those of you here already, welcome aboard. Tell me your name as well and where you're joining from. But my time is 8 p.m. And I hope your day was beautiful. Smart note taking essentials. So we're going to be looking at some of the key principles as well as practices that one should begin to look out for if you intend to take your transformation to the next level. So if you see me looking down here, um, I'm looking at my notes. Okay, note taking is beautiful. I know that a lot of people really would want to understand how to take notes because it is very important as it has a lot of roles to play in terms of how you are able to take your transformation to the next level. All right, it will help you to organize your notes, summarize, and be able to retain knowledge efficiently. Right? So, note taking goes beyond just jotting down information. Babalola, how you doing? Welcome to class. I see Jemima. Welcome to class. So it goes beyond just jotting down information. That's why a lot of times people read, they don't remember what they've read. They listen to a coach, they listen to a class. Like you're listening to me right now, you ought to be taking effective notes. Okay? If you're the type that love to type on your notepad, that's also very beautiful. It's beautiful as well. Okay. Okay, today's all blue. Oh my goodness, yeah. Welcome. I see myself looking so beautiful. All right. Okay, let me see how clear it is. I hope my network is okay this evening by my time here. Godwin Atman, you're welcome. Is Aqua Ibom. Evelyn, welcome to class. Evelyn, how are you? I hope you're fine today. Okay. Welcome, Chris. Chris is in class today. Chris, it's been a while. How you doing? I hope you're fine today. Okay, so we live in the era right now where yes, it's almost like we're so bombarded with a lot. Yeah, we're bombarded with a lot of ideas, we're bombarded with a lot of thought processes, and for that, we don't even know where to start from. I've touched again and again on the need for you to be a self-regulated learner. Self-regulations, it's wonderful. It's necessary for us to be able to take our transformation to the next level. Okay, so because self-regulation is important for us to be able to take our transformation to the next level, it means that we must be ready to put in the necessary tools and strategies for us to be able to grow, all right, and stay committed. Like I said in my copy this evening, that what is the essence of reading? What is the essence of reading if at the end of the day we cannot retain what we have read? Okay, what is the essence of reading if we cannot retain what we have read? So it is important that even as we live in a world that is laced with so much information right now, we should be able to read and retain. We should be able to go through a course and retain. We should be able to do a whole lot of things and be able to retain the thoughts, okay, retain the ideas. It is essential, it is important. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, you should do that now. Okay, subscribe so you can always be notified when there are new videos, new updates, and all the different segments. So learning is a lifelong thing. And for that, we want to be able to make the most of our timing, right? We want to be able to make the most of the opportunities that are given to us by part time that are located to us. at our disposal. So note taking is really about being able to organize your ideas, organize information, being able to synthesize them, and being able to retain them. There is a system in man, and that system is called the memory, right? It's a system that allows us to be able to take in ideas, take in information, and at the same time, when there's a need for it, you can also be able to give it back. So it's more like a storage center, a refining tool that's been given to us, a faculty that once you do not know how to utilize it, you may not get the best. One of the best way to utilize your memory system such that you are able to get the results that you seek is that you must be able to take effective note while you learn. Okay, so some of the key principles as it has to do with note taking is that you must be purpose driven. Okay, there has to be such a thing as intentional note taking, purpose driven note taking. That is the first principle I like you to write down. Purpose driven note taking. Okay, purpose driven note taking. So understanding your notes, okay, understand why you are taking notes in the first place. It's not just about waking up to say, oh, I'm reading. You know, when you read, you have to take notes. Coach Faith has said we should take notes, but then there has to be an intention. So we are already welcome to class. So please, if you're on the Telegram community and you're here, I'd like you to take a moment to take a beautiful part of this session, beautiful screenshot of this session. Go and drop it in the Telegram room and share something that you are learning from the class right now. Yes, I like everyone that is here. I see Fongo, I see Jemima, I see Chris, I see Evelyn. I know you all are in the Telegram community. Go and do that now. Take a moment to do that. I see Dora. Take a screenshot and go share in the room and tell them to join us. Okay, get the share button. Tell them to join the class. Okay, I'm watching for those of us that are here. Please let's do that. So we must be able to understand why we're taking notes. Why are you taking notes in the first place? What's the essence of your note taking? All right. As a student, as an A student, I would always say that if I had understood the concept of reading this way or the concept of note taking this way, I would have been an extra A student, right? I would have been able to go beyond my current, at that current level I was as a student. So understanding why we are taking note is one of the major essence of note taking, one of the major principles you must put in place. Are you taking notes for lecture? Are you taking notes for brainstorming session? For a brainstorming session, are you researching? Are you organizing a research project? Do you understand? Are you researching? Are you researching? Why are you taking notes? All right. Purpose-driven note is fundamental. It's fundamental. It is fundamental. Are you taking note because you want to brainstorm on ideas? Are you taking note because it's a lecture, it's a class, it's a session? Are you taking note because you want to organize a research project together? Are you taking note because you want to be able to retain information? You want to be able to go back to your notes anytime, any season, so that you are able to utilize the notes that you are taking. Why are you taking notes? All right, purpose driven note. Your note must be purpose driven. I hope you get that gist. Your note must be purpose driven. That is the first step. And then you must also tailor your note taking style to your objective so that you're able to capture relevant information. Tailor your note taking style to your key objectives. All right. What do you want to achieve tomorrow? What do you want to achieve in the next 1 minute? What do you want to achieve in the next few weeks? Make sure that your note taking is tailored to that approach. For example, as a reading coach, most often I do book review sessions. In our Telegram community, we have a called session, Book Motivation Mondays, where we come together, we have conversations around the things that really spur us up for the week. Like someone once said, that if we can be eating every now and then, like we eat 3 times a day, what will stop you from getting motivated, all right, all through the day, so that you're able to, stay connected. So we do book motivation Mondays to get us in the zone, so that we're able to prepare our heart for the week, right? So that we're able to prepare our heart for the week. So once we prepare our heart for the week, okay, I hope you can still hear me. Let me just off my camera. So at the end of the day, friends, sorry, the Nigeria factor has happened. Okay. So at the end of the day, friends, you must ensure that you are able to tailor your note taking. Okay. You are able to tailor your note taking to your key objectives. Okay. Okay, thank you. I see us doing the needful now. I see us doing the needful. Well done. Thank you. Okay, so Congo. Okay, I'm back now, guys. Congo, thank you for sharing. Okay. All right. So you have to be able to tailor your note taking, all right, to your objective. You must ensure that you are able to capture the information that are most important, information that are vital to your essence of whatever it is that you are doing. That's why it has to be purposeful. All right. So, for example, I was talking about the book Motivation Mondays. I do book Motivation Mondays every now and then. By the way, this Monday is going to be so profound. The business book club will be stepping up to do something amazing. I'll be sharing the book tomorrow. Okay, it's going to be amazing. Chris, I hope you're getting ready. Ma'am, Nashi, Innocentia. I hope you guys are getting ready. So make sure you are in Book of Motivation Monday by 5 a.m. That's 5 a.m. on Monday, right? So get ready to be part of it. So the reason I'm saying this is that whenever I want to teach Book Motivation Monday, for example, I have a format for taking my notes, right? I have a format for taking my notes. Coming to teach this class, I also have a format for teaching. I have a format for taking my notes. Do you see? So it allows for that fluidity. It allows for that flow, for me to be able to move from one level to another level to another level to another level. Do you see that? So, but for some persons who really do not understand their patterns and how they flow with thoughts, with ideas, it may be really difficult. And in terms of assimilation, in terms of absorption, in terms of being able to taking thoughts, taking ideas, and be able to assimilate them on a deeper level, there has to also be a pattern in which you take your notes so that immediately you have your notes like this. I have several notes that I have taken over the years, and I'm still taking some of them. I have a lot of them. I think there was a time I was having a conversation with these are, I have a lot of them. These are some of my notes that I have taken over the years, some of them. So someone was telling me that it's possible I could even create a library where I have my notes, where I have my notes, and I could easily just begin to share my notes and people can come around, read my notes. So there's just a lot. There are times right now I want to create content, actually some of my YouTube videos, my TikTok videos. How many of you are following me on TikTok and YouTube? Okay, you are here now. Hopefully, you're following me on YouTube. If you're not following me, follow now. If you're not following me on TikTok, go and look for Faith Michael on TikTok. I'm a TikTok. I'm a TikToker. So go follow me on TikTok, guys. So I want to teach. I want to share thoughts. I have my notes that I've taken over time. I could just pick up an idea there. I'm expanding on it. In 10 minutes, I'm done. Like I can share whatever it is I want to share. So your focus matters. Why are you taking note in the first place? If you are the type you read, you hardly can integrate the lessons and ideas, there has to be a format that would align with your note-taking approach so that you are able to become better. And that will take a lot of intentional studies, right? It's going to take a lot of intentional studies, meaning that you would have to make the decision to say, okay, I am going to begin to do this, right? Consistently and continuously. I hope you can hear me. Consistently and continuously, I'm going to begin to take notes, all right? I'm going to begin to do this, all right? So the next thing you have to look out for as a key principle for note taking, only from one shared. I'm not seeing others. What's going on, guys? Are you all here? Did you get it? Take a screenshot and share in the room so that others can join us. So the next thing is active listening and engagement. That is also very important for note taking. It's one of the major principles. Okay, I talk about intentional reading all the time. Like, that's purposeful reading. Be very intentional, right? Be very spirited in your learning process. Be very spirited in your learning process. Be very connected and attuned with who you are and who you are becoming. So, in terms of note taking, another key principle is that you must be an active listener. You must be actively engaged with whatever it is you're reading. I talk about active reading all the time. So that is how you get to pay full attention, all right, to the source of the content or to whoever is speaking to you part time. As you are listening to me right now, you must be committed. You must listen to me like deeply. You must be engaged. You don't have to be listening here and you are doing another thing, or maybe you're watching a movie by the side, or you are doing another thing. No, you have to be deeply, deeply engaged in the process. That's how we're going to get the best from this conversation. All right. If you are not engaged, you cannot take notes. One thing I have seen about note taking, especially when I'm reading, is that whenever I'm reading, there are things that will not begin to connect. I hope you know that ideas can always connect based on your previous engagement. All right, based on your previous engagement. That is how ideas can always interact, integrate themselves, connect. All right, they have a way of coming together, just like your cells at the cellular level. You don't know how your cells connect, you don't know how they mutate, you don't know they get together, right? You don't know all of those things, but then they have a way of just coming together. That's how ideas works. So you don't even know how they work. Like, as I'm speaking to you right now, there's a certain thought process that's just flowing, and I'm just talking and talking. I'm like, oh, I want to be a great speaker. I want to be able to speak like Coach Faith. I want to be able to articulate my thoughts. But the truth is, if you are not intentional with your learning, you are not always into it, there is no way you can mutate those thoughts and ideas and you can begin to flow at a superior level. Okay, each time I want to teach like this, I really want to get into the zone of teaching. I have the practices that I put together to ensure that I'm able to get into the zone of my teaching. All right, sometimes I could just dance, I'm shaking my body, I'm like, yes, 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 I'm just doing all of those things just to ensure that I'm able to, connect to the thoughts, connect to the process, connect to what it is I want to offer you. Okay, some people, if they're on stage, there are certain things they do. For example, if I'm on stage, um there are certain ways. I have a certain charisma. Many of you have not seen me on stage, possibly, right? I have a certain charisma. When I'm teaching on stage, I have certain things that I do to ensure that I just get into the zone. I have a special way I take my notes if I'm on stage that is quite also different from how I take my notes when I'm teaching virtually like this, right? So all of these things, you must begin to understand them, and you must be very active as a listener. You must be active. All right. If it's a book you're reading, you must be engaged. Pay full attention. Thank you, Evelyn. I see your post. Pay full attention to whoever is speaking. Pay full attention to whatever it is you're reading, so you are not distracted, so you don't miss out on important details. Like I said, that ideas have a way of connecting, synchronizing, all right, coming together. How many of you have practiced syntopical reading pattern before? Like, I've spoken so much about syntopical reading. If you have practiced it, I'd like you to type syntopical reading in the comment. Type syntopical reading in the comment. All right. I also sometimes we call it comparative reading. It's the same thing. It's an idea that's been propagated by Mortimer Adler and Charles Van, I think, Darwin. Yeah, Mortimer Adler, one of the founding researcher and contributor to the Encyclopedia Britannica. How many of you know about the Encyclopedia Britannica? I know we have different types of encyclopedia. The Britannica is one of the most popular, right? How many of you know about the Britannica Encyclopedia? Maybe after that, if you don't know, go and type Encyclopedia Britannica. It's one of the most wonderful encyclopedia out there, right? He was one of those people, and he came up with the concept of the syntopical reading, or the comparative reading. It's sort of reading that allows you to be able to compare ideas from different thought processes. Let's say you're building something, you want to build a value chain, right? You want to build a value chain. You want to build capacity for a certain level of expression, a certain kind of expression, right? Okay, you want to build capacity for a certain kind of expression, and like, okay, how do I do zoning? How do I start? How do I begin to really build this level of capacity? So usually what you do is that you can get books, you can get teachings in that environment, and then you begin to read those books. And you're not just going to be reading the books per se, okay, from beginning to the end. You're not just going to be reading the book at that level. Excuse me. You're not just going to be reading the book at that level. But the truth is, you are going to ensure that, okay, you are going to ensure that you pick topics, topics from that book. All right, let's say you want to build capacity in public speaking, you can pick up 10 books in that area. All right, and then you look at the topics that are connected in those books. That's why I love framework books, books that has framework, that has roadmaps, that you can move from step one to step two to step three to step four, that is not really scattered, it's well orchestrated. So you can pick up topics from here that connect to this, that connect to this, and then you read them. Let's just imagine that in public speaking now, you want to build the capacity to be a good storyteller, right? So if you want to build your capacity in public speaking, there are different arena, there are different spaces, there are different dimensions to it. Or maybe you want to be a good negotiator, you want to be a persuasive speaker, you want to be a storyteller, you want to learn how to end a conversation with a bang, or how to start a conversation on a good light such that you can captivate your audience and they can be there. So there's, have you seen some speakers, they start out well and they are good, they are just having fun, people are enjoying it, and after a while the enthusiasm and the energy just dies down. It's also a skill for you to be able to start a conversation with energy and be able to end it with a bang, such that your listeners keep asking for more. They keep coming back to say, when are you going to bring this person back to speak to us? Because the light that we experienced in that hall, in that building, was just so much. It's not something that we can just trade off like that. So these are all different compartments of speaking, right? So let's say storytelling. So you can decide to pick book by Smith, pick different books on storytelling, and then maybe Seth Godin on storytelling. Just pick up maybe 5 to 10 of them, and then you pick up specific areas in their content to read and really zone in, practice those lessons so well. So that is really going to help you to synchronize those ideas together. That's what concentration and engagement does for you. If you pick up those thoughts and then you are reading them, you're connecting them in your mind, you're asking questions, empowering questions, you are coming up with solutions, you're mutating those ideas and those thoughts. It is going to be so deep. You are going to be so deep in terms of your ability to understand, not in the place of sounding deep now per se, but the ability to be able to relate and really share so much. So in active listening and engagement of whatever it is you're reading, you must be able to concentrate, you must be able to ask questions. All right. Sometimes you can ask those questions out loud, right? I've spoken about the concept of nature walk in this class. You can just begin to take a walk and you're like, oh my God, storytelling. And then you pick up an aspect and say, okay, these are some of the things I learned about storytelling. Maybe probably you learned that, oh, you have to be able to share the story in a way that it is emotionally connecting to your audience, or you are so very dramatic about it. And then you can now begin to ask yourself, how can I be dramatic? What are some of the elements I need to bring on stage to ensure that I am a dramatic speaker, to ensure that I'm able to express my emotions and people can really relate to whatever it is I'm bringing to the table. So you now begin to what? Ask questions. Do you see that? You ask those questions. You can ask it out loud and answer them yourself. You can also ask them in your mind so that you can deepen your understanding. All right. Another key principle. Remember, we're talking about the principles now. We've spoken about the fact that it has to be purpose driven. It has to involve the act of activeness, engagement. The third principle is that it has to has, I mean, your note taking must be organized. It must be structured. All right. It must be what? Organized and structured. I've taught on mind mapping. Did I take it as a class? Did I take mind mapping as a class? Have I taken it as a class, or I taught it in between a session? Please let me know. I think I taught mind mapping as a class. I can't really remember. But then you can check out this channel. There are a lot of videos. I think we currently have over 80 videos here. So we're still loading. So use structured formats to, take your notes. You can be outlines, can be mind maps. For those of you that love to write books or that love to write articles, we talk about outlines a lot. That even if it is an article you want to write, there should be an outline. That is one best way to flow, such that you're able to come up with something beautiful that people reading your content, people listening to you, they will be so blessed. All right. Like I started this conversation by establishing the foundation for note taking, right? Why note taking is essential, what it can do for you. And now we're talking about the principles. After the principles, now we'll talk about the practices. That's how to carry it out. Then we round off the class. So that's a proper structure. To say that I've introduced it, I've told you what it can do for you. I've also shared my own experience and my own story. Now we're talking about the principles. So the top principle now is about organization. In terms of organization, you can use outline, you can use mind maps, right? I like you to type it in the room. Outline is like, okay, number one, number two, three, right? Mind maps, you know what mind map are. Mind mapping is about using a drawing kind of. For those of you that are virtual or virtual learners, last time in the class we spoke about the learning styles. Can you remember? And then I gave you the link to go check out the VAC model, right? The VAC model. And then many of you did it in the book club. That was profound. And then in the VAC methodology, you discover that you're a virtual learner, you are a multimodal learner, you are a reading and writing learner, you are a kinesthetic learner, and all the different aspects. We also spoke about the auditory. Auditory VAC is VARK, virtual, auditory, reading and writing. Then the last one is kinesthetism. And we said it could also be a blend. If you have not watched that video, go back and watch the video where I spoke about learning styles. Or I also said there could be blends, right? Blends in between where you are able to connect two learning styles together, three learning styles together. You could also flow in that spectrum. So paying full attention is important, like we said. So you must use structures like outlines, mind map. If you're a visual learner, so you should start exercising your mind mapping capacity. Mind map is like a diagrammatic representation of your brainstorming session of your notes. You could have this central part, which is the main idea, more like in the middle, and then there are branches at the body where you have the sub part of the idea, and then you can still keep branching out depending on how far you want to go. That's mind mapping. So if you do that, you can easily just remember. So if you've seen a map before, maybe a Google map or whatever map, you see the way it is connected. That's how you also connect ideas in mind mapping. Okay, so you can either use that for your structuring of notes, you can use outlines, you can also use the Cornell method. The Cornell method, I will talk about it in the practice later. All right, so there has to be the hierarchical order, okay, in terms of organization, where you have your main ideas, your supporting details, your sub ideas, and then supporting details. If you're writing a book, for example, you have a topic that you're writing on. That is your book title, isn't it? And then in that book title, you now have chapters. Those chapters are your sub ideas, right? Your sub ideas where you have chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. They are all still talking about the title of the book, right? And then in those chapters, sometimes you can even decide to have parts. You can write them in parts. Let's say part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. Then in under part 1, you now have maybe step 1, step 2, or chapter 1, chapter 2. So however you want to categorize it. But then in all, when you start writing about the different chapters, there would still be supporting details, right? There will be stories, there will be statistics, there will be lessons, things that you have interacted with that you want to share in those different chapters. Those now become the supporting details. So there is this flow from the top to the bottom. Like this is the main topic, this is the supporting topic, this is it, this is it. So they are flowing from top to bottom. I hope you get the gist now. So there is this flow. That's how your note is supposed to be. There has to be a flow. It is through that flow you can remember. Okay, the brain, that's how the brain of a man works. We work by organization. All right, the structure of the brain works by organization. So if your thoughts are not organized, it will be difficult for you to remember them, because the different compartments of the memory system of a man, once you bring in those ideas, they are fitting into those different compartments. But if it is not well structured, it will be haphazard. The brain will not be able to capture it. All right, it look like you are giving the brain so much work to do. But once it is well captured, the system of the mind allows for instant assimilation. Sometimes, even if you don't even remember there's this saying that the the faintest pen is sharper than the brightest memory. Please, somebody should give me the exact quote. It's in that line. Okay. I don't know if I can check it here as well. If you are there, you want to help me out, please do so. I think we need that quote. Let me check perplexity, my friend. Perplexity, perplexity. um, if you have it there, you can just give me the quote. The faintest pen is better than the. Let me ask perplexity. It's been long I log on to my perplexity. Are you enjoying the session, guys? Okay. The faintest pen is better than the sharpest memory. Perplexity says the faintest pen symbolizes a minor discomfort or struggle that we might experience in the present. This could refer to physical pain, emotional distress, or even the challenges of daily life. Okay. The sharpest memory, on the other hand, presents a vivid recollection of a past experience, often one that is painful or traumatic. These memories, okay, we don't want plenty English now. English is okay, Jemima, thank you. The palest ink is better than the best memory. Okay, I think that's another way to say it. All right, the faintest pen is better than the what sharpest memory. Okay, if you can say it this way, that the palest ink is better than the best memory. So that is to say that um, if your pen is faint, like you really do not have the time, it's a struggle for you to do that. As little as possible that you can write down that note is better. Because sometimes you may think that your memory is so sharp, you can remember everything. Trust me, you can't. You can't. So the brain requires a lot of organization for it to be able to work well. So when you take that note down, you are helping the system of the memory. It's a faculty. You are enhancing it. It's just like somebody that wants to brainstorm. You want to use the faculty of imagination that's been given to us by God to visualize into the future. But there has to be a foundation. There has to be something you are looking at for. There has to be a compelling truth in your heart that you are trying to envisage. Otherwise, you cannot imagine in vacuum. All right, you start seeing spirits. You cannot imagine in vacuum. So there has to be something you're looking at for. So you must ensure that you organize. The next thing you have to do is that it must be concise, it must be cleared. All right. Your notes must be concise. You can use bullet points, you can use abbreviations. I love using abbreviations a lot. How many of you know that the program we did, if you were in that program, guys, Elevate Boot Camp. How many of you were in Elevate Boot Camp? If you missed Elevate Boot Camp, come on. Why did you miss it? Why did you miss it? We're going to be having another powerful back-to-back boot camp, hopefully I think that would be this is July, right? August, we're having a reading challenge. I think that will be between September, October. We're going to be having another back-to-back boot camp, just like we had Elevate. So if you missed Elevate, make sure you show up for this one. So in Elevate boot camp, we used a lot of abbreviations, acronyms. How many of you can remember? A lot of acronym, the REA model, the REA framework, and all the different frameworks. And it was really so beautiful. That is really my pattern. I love it because each time I use those things to expand on a subject, I can always remember. And that's what I want you to utilize, because the different principles of the memory, okay, the different principles of the memory is that you are able to use acronyms. There's also what we call acoustic. How many of you have heard of acoustic, right? Acronym, acoustic, and all the different mnemonics, right? Mnemonic devices right? So using abbreviations allows for clarity and brevity of your notes, right? If you are the type that you forget easily, try to use acronyms. Try to use acronyms. I started using acronyms back in secondary school. I can never forget there was this subject we had, business studies. Okay, welcome, Mama Dinashi, girlie, how you doing? So there was this business of study course in those days. I started using acronym. I didn't even know what it was, but I started using it. There was this class exam that was given in JS2, class 2 in those days, and I had 42 over 60. I was the highest in the course, and the teacher was like, how did you do it? Because there were a lot of demerits and merits. How many of you can remember the merit of this entrepreneur, merit of this, advantages of that, this and this characteristics in business studies? In fact, at some point, I didn't like the course. I didn't like it because it was just so much cram. You cram 5 advantages here, all disadvantages there, this and this limitations, that activity. There's just so much. But I started using acronyms. I didn't know what they meant. So what I did literally in that exam was that I'll pick up 5 advantages from the demerit of this entrepreneurship, or this sole proprietorship, or that. I will just pick 5, and I will use acronym. I will look out for one word that stands out in each of the lessons, and I will place them in the word. I didn't know it was acronym, so that I can remember. That was how I was able to scale through that exam. All right. So that clarity and brevity allows the mind to be able to remember. It's not because you are too smart. It's not because you are better than the next person, but it's just a mnemonic device. It's a memory device that allows you to be able to remember, that allows you to be able to, regurgitate the facts whenever you need them. It will not be like you have crammed it. It will not be like you have tried to, commit it to memory. No, it will just flow because there's already an acronym. There is already a concise way to remember. So you can use bullet points, you can use acronyms, you can do a lot to really ensure that your note is clear. If your handwriting is not good, some people do not have good handwriting while they are taking notes, please take digital notes. It's not by force to take written note on your note. You can take digital notes. Today we have tools like voice to text, where you can speak your notes and it will be written for you. Then you can just edit it, have somewhere in your Google Drive where you save all your notes, and they can always go there. If you check my Google Drive, there are a lot of different titles. I have some I call brainstorming ideas. I have different ones, but I do both of them. Actually, I do both digital notes and the other and then written notes. So it's really very important. I could also be reading a book and an idea strikes in my heart. I just go to my phone and I speak my notes. Later, I convert it into a real content. So this is it. You must understand how to, ensure that your notes read, can be read. Some people are not good with writing. There are some adults listening to me now. It's possible you are still very dyslexic. The problem was not solved as a child. I see a lot of people like that at the age of 50, 60, 70, 40, 30, 20. They are still dyslexic, and they think that they don't even know they are dyslexic. They feel sometimes like inadequate and all of that. But actually, it's such a strength, because dyslexic people, I have seen a lot, they have, most of them, of course, majority dyslexias. I think they are left brainers. Yeah, is it left or right brainers? I can't really figure it out, but they have one part more domiciled as opposed to other people. So they like diagrams. So you can begin to use mind maps. Mind maps to take your notes as a dyslexic person. You must not write straightforward notes like those of us that are not dyslexic. You can use mind maps because those people are very good with graphical representations. So because they are visual, they see things, they can come up with ideas, they can go deep into it. So for that, you can begin to take virtual mind map. You can use your mind map to take notes. You draw your diagram, you connect all the ideas, so that whenever there is an opportunity for expression, whenever there's an opportunity for you to say, you can easily just look at your notes. You can look at your notes. Yes, you can imagine your note. Do you understand? You can just imagine your note. You'll be on stage, you'll be speaking, but you are seeing your notes. How many of you can relate to that? Like you're writing an exam, because you are very vivid, you're good with note taking. You just be seeing your notes and you'll be speaking it, right? Because you have looked at this note, you've looked at the dimension, the patterns, the different corners of it. You will just be speaking it. That's the essence of clarity. And then another thing I want to talk on is the fact that you must be able to review your notes. This is the last part of the principles. Reviewing your notes is important. There's such a thing as post reading. I did a program 2022. It was about reading mastery workshop. Yes, reading mastery workshop. It was so beautiful. That was the first time I did it, and I've not done it ever since. There was a 10 days event, and in it I spoke about the essence of post reading. One thing that you do as a post reader is that you review your notes, right? You review what you have read. You reinforce your memory by reviewing. If you don't review, you cannot reinforce that memory. Okay? Any memory that must stay for the longest of time has to be reinforced. The reason people have low self-esteem, all right? The reason people have low self-esteem today is because people have spoken to them. They've been in an environment where they were being talked down on for many years. As children, they grew up with it. There are some children that they had parents who would always tell them they are not good enough. Look at your big head, you're like monkey, you're like this, you're like that. They say all sorts of things to their children. And of course, for many years, you have been groomed in this environment. You have grown, you are not a grown-up adult in this very environment. You have been into it, and it has just been your life. So you grow up because that memory has been reinforced in your mind. You cannot come out of this system of low self-esteem, right? You cannot come out of it. You think it's a spiritual battle. You think it's because anything that is within the layers of the subconscious that we cannot explain with our mouth, that has not been able to come up higher in our consciousness, we see it as spiritual, right? For me, I see it as spiritual as well, because for you to go down there and bring out the result, there are a lot of tools, there are a lot of things you have to begin to do. Affirmation here and there, visualization, meditation, all of these tools, you now begin to use their confession, positive affirmation, just to ensure that you rewire your system. There are times that you tell you, say, yeah, I can do it. I have capacity. I'm a strong man. I'm a strong woman. Okay. By the time that thing, they trigger you in that your button. Just go back to your space. Just go back to your echo chamber, your cocoon. Just go back there, right? And it's difficult. Sometimes you try as much as possible. You're like, I'm trying to come out of this dungeon. These sabotages that have limited me for years, limited beliefs, wicked powers from my father's house have kept me. Of course, sometimes, when I started having this understanding, I used to say that, okay, true, they are parts of the father's house, because these things have limited you for years. It's something that you were bombarded with as a child. They've entered into your system. Now they are worrying you. They are worrying your emotions. They are worrying your emotions. You've not been able to come out of it. So there are parts of the father's house that needs a lot of, you need to battle it to be able to come out of it. Right? You need a lot of reading, a lot of praying, a lot of everything you can do to come out of it. So for you to reinforce the memory that you have been able to, take in per time, you must reinforce it. And that's where you go back to review your notes. You see that note taking is very beautiful. It's very beautiful. If you can begin to engage in these practices, your life will never remain the same. So you go back and review, and that is another principle. You revisit it, you do your revision so that you can gain clarity. And when you review your notes, there are certain aspects of your notes that may not be congruent with your current positioning. You can adjust them. You see where digital note comes in, because if it's something that you have written down, you can easily not adjust, because there may not be space for you to do that. But if it's a digital note, you can easily just adjust, edit, add something that's okay. I want to refine this idea, it's better. And of course, when you go back to review your notes again and again, you now begin to see light bulb moments, a lot begin to pop into your heart, things that you never thought possible. You just begin to step up, okay, because you have gone back to review your notes again and again, so as to ensure that you reinforce that memory. I hope that's clear. So let's look at some of the key practices that you can begin to utilize. I haven't understand some of the principles. So I like you to tell me in the comments which of the principle has really stood out for you right now. Tell me. This is a master class on note taking. There is a full-blown master class on note taking. Which of them has really stood out for you right now that you think you would love to go ahead and begin to, implement immediately? I know all of them are connected, but which one stood out for you? Tell me in the comments. So let's look at the key practices. Okay, one of it is that you can use the Cornell note-taking system. I talk about Cornell. Cornell is really about dividing your page in 3 sections. There's a note, there's the aspect that has to do with the cues, and there's the aspect that has to do with the summary, right? So you can have 3 portions. The note part is when you write detailed notes, when you are taking lectures, while you are reading. And then the Q session is when you ask questions. Remember, I spoke about asking questions when you are being purposeful. You ask questions, you write down keywords, you drop your own comments in the margins and a whole lot of other things. Okay, so we can put this together as NCS, the notes, the cues, and the summary. The summary session is where you now summarize the main idea. Okay, sometimes it's always at the bottom of the page. All right, so it's always at the bottom of the page, or you can also have it by the side, however you want to have it. But this is a note-taking system. I have it in my book. I really touched on it. In my book. What book is that? Is it Reading Mastery? I think it's Reading Mastery. Yeah, Reading Mastery. I touched on that really. Okay, so that's the Connect Note Taking system. If you want to get my Reading Mastery book, you can reach out to me. So the next practice that you can also begin to adopt is digital tools. All right, there are a lot of tools out there. We have the OneNote. Evernote is the most popular among all of them. There's also the Notion. Notion allows you to be able to organize and sync your notes across other devices, but Evernote is one of the most popular. You can use Evernote. Okay. There are lots of features in Evernote like tagging, searching, and all of that. You can use that too. Evernote, Evernote. So you can download the app if you want to adopt it and begin to practice. Okay. There's also what we call mind maps. Like I said, you can go ahead and learn more about mind mapping. You can use those diagrams, charts, and all of that to create your notes. Okay. Also understand the concept of highlighting and annotation. How many of you have heard of the concept of annotation? I think I have a full-blown class on annotation in my note-taking class. All right. Some of you may not have access to that class. I taught the class in 2020/2021. Yeah, I still have them. Maybe I will revisit them and go on them again. So there's the aspect that has to do with annotation. Annotation is beautiful because annotation allows you to be able to write on the margins to clarify your point. You can also add additional sources of information. You can use colors, you can highlight, you can do all of that. Those are different things we do in the place of annotation. So when you have your Bible or your book and you're highlighting it, you're writing by the margins, you're doing all of that, those things are annotation. These are practices. You can also begin to annotate. Maybe if it's a hard copy book, all right? Most often, when you have read a book before and you are going back to go read that book, you remember that there are times that you see a place that you have highlighted before, you have annotated on, and then you'll be like, oh, I think I need to pay more attention here, isn't it? I need to pay more attention because if I have highlighted it, it means that there's something important here that I am not really bringing to the table. Okay? So if you want to get Reading Mastery, yes, that WhatsApp number, you can reach out to me. Thank you, Jemima. Okay? So the next thing is that you have to be able to practice summarization. We do this a lot in the reading challenge. We have an upcoming reading challenge. We'll start advertising it by I think next week. Yeah, we'll start talking about it from next weekend or thereabout. To start talking about it so that you can start signing up for the reading challenge. The reading challenge. Okay, so to get really integrate some of these lessons, you have to start practicing summarization. Maybe you read a chapter, you can summarize the section or the chapter. Do it in your own words to ensure that you understand the material. Yes, that's where you get to integrate a lot. Some people use flashcards. Okay, I know of this amazing thought leader that brought in the concept of flashcards so much. He did it so well. I've forgotten that it's the man that wrote I think Deep Work, Cal Newport, yeah. Cal Newport is big on flashcards, right? Flashcards, you can use it to collect concepts, review your work regularly, and all of that. So this is another practice in the place of note taking, practice summarization. So when you have read a chapter, just by yourself, write down what you learned, no matter how difficult that chapter is. There may be a sentence you learned, there may be two sentences, there may be a page. Write it down. Do you get that? Write it down. Write it down. So to get my reading mastery book, you can send me a DM here on WhatsApp. I think you have seen that already. So let's remove it from the screen. You can see my beautiful face. So make sure that you always practice summarization. And that's how it helps. If you can be able to put thoughts together in your own words, When you are writing, it will not be a problem. When you're speaking, it will not be a problem. Don't write notes like just like the way it is written by the author. And if you decide to write it that way, ensure that you let yourself know that this one are not my words. They are the words of the author, so that you don't want to use those ideas later in book writing and what have you, and they begin to see you as someone who's plagiarizing someone else's work. So beyond just that, if you're not writing it in your own words, it means that you are kind of lazy. You're a lazy person. All right, you're a lazy learner. Learning is a lot of work. Oh. We used to say it in those days that learning is more difficult than farm work. It's more difficult too, because you require a lot of work, because this brain that's been given to you by God, the gray matter, the white matter, the hypothalamus, the frontal cortex, the prefrontal cortex, PFC, and all the different compartments, you must learn how to use them. You must learn how to use the mind, right? God did not give us the mind to go and keep it somewhere, and when the situation comes, you are saying it is well all the time. No, God gave you the mind so that you can use it, right? You can use it to work. It's not for you to keep it, because any muscle that is not trained, it will atrophy, right? It will experience atrophy if you are not using the muscle. Even the body system that's been given to us, if you don't exercise, sooner or later you see people having diabetes, having high blood pressure, having all sort of sicknesses in their body because they are not using the body. Okay, because they're not using their body. When you start using the body now, you see your muscles start getting better. You start having this flexibility, all right? You start having this ability to stretch. That's the essence of yoga. Yoga is a stretching kind of exercise. You stretch the body, you can turn your body, turn your ankles, your everything. They are stretching. All right, that's the essence of yoga, right? The essence of meditation, affirmation, visualization, so that you can use the mind. God did not give it to you to go and keep it somewhere. All right, it is so that you can use it, because if you don't use it, it will die. Whatever you don't use, definitely they're going to experience. um there's no sedentary lifestyle for anybody, whether in the mind or in the spirit or in the body. If you don't exercise your spirit as a child of God, you will not also be spiritual. All right, spirituality is the exercising of the spirit. That's spirituality. All right, you are a spiritual being, but for you to become spiritually aligned and attuned with the things of the spirit, you must exercise your spirit, man. All right. If you want your soul to be useful, to be able to do the things that are necessary on planet Earth, because it is through your soul you experience the world. It is through your soul you experience the things of the world. The spirit does not have those experiences, right? The spirit only understands the things of the spirit. But the soul that's been given to us, wherein lies our mind, our emotions, our faculties, everything that has to do with us, is so that we're able to experience the earth realm. We're able to live as humans, right? But the beautiful thing about our souls is that we can connect to both the body, the physicalities, and then we can also connect to the spirit. So with the portals of our souls, we can, attract signals from the spirit, and then we can also connect to the physical reality. So if we're not able to exercise these portals, we're not able to exercise these different segments of our humanness, then it becomes a challenge. All right. So your ability to begin to, harness it, begin to utilize it, you start getting better. You start getting better by the day. When I started off speaking, I was not speaking this way. When I started off coaching, I was not coaching this way. Today I'm coaching better. I'm speaking better. I can diagnose your problem. All right. And then really be able to give you solution blueprint that you can implement, that you can run with. Yes, I speak with some people, leaders across industries, CSO and CFO, the C's and all of that. I speak to different people, businessmen and women, and they're like, oh my God, Coach Faith, you just hit the nail on the head. That is so profound. That is it. That is it. Why? Because I've done this again and again and again. Yes, when I started off on this journey, I wasn't like this, right? So I want to say this to say that your ability to begin to, summarize each section or chapters in your own words is going to help you to understand the material. And it's also going to help you to come up with a lot of novelties, a lot of ideas. How do you come up with novelties? How do you come up with newness? We humans love varieties a lot. Yes, we thrive with a multitude of varieties around us. And if there are no varieties, we'll give up easily. So the varieties of life. Just imagine you're eating a goosey soup from Monday to Sunday. You go see sleep in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, tomorrow you continue again. What is it? You just die, right? But there are these varieties that you can decide to eat just one meal once in a week, and then you don't repeat it all through the week again, right? You don't repeat it all through the week. You just keep changing and changing and changing. That's why you're looking so beautiful, glamorous, like Coach Faith and all of that. So it is important that you understand how to practice summarization. Okay, begin to do it. And another thing you can also do is you can also begin to engage in this active form of learning where you can discuss your notes with your peers, with your study groups, to deepen your understanding. So that is why you should be in the Real Leaders Book Club, man. Like if you're not in the Real Leaders Book Club, you should join us. We have a lot that you can connect with, and we're even taking it to the next level right now. There's been a lot loading on the table, and we've been brainstorming, coming up with a lot, and God has been helping us. So if you want to be a member of the Leaders Book Club, there's a link here. You can just go through the link to send me a DM, all right? And then we'll talk about it so that you can be part of a community. Because once you're in a community like that, for example, when you summarize your thoughts, you can have people to share your thoughts with. And the more you share those thoughts, the more they mutate, the more your thought processes deepen, the more you're able to come up with new ideas in your feed, in your business world. You just discover that you are reading a book on a subject and your business is getting better. Your life is getting better. Your emotions are getting better. You're becoming more stable, right? In your thought process, in your thinking patterns. You're becoming more stable. What happened? Why is that energy rubbing off on this area? It is the same. Life does not afford vacuum. Whatever it is that is influencing this aspect of your life must deliberately influence other areas. You don't have to tell it to. It just does its work. So you're in a community where you're having conversation and somebody shares an idea, shares a thought, and you are lifted in your spirit. The baby in your womb is sleeping, right? You're like, oh my God, thank God I came for this session. It's possible all that I have said so far is just one word for you. It's just about two words for you. So you must be able to discuss your note. You must be able to apply the concept from your note in practical scenarios and projects. You must be able to implement them. We started off reading for execution blueprint late last month, and today we've been able to coach a lot of people in their tens of numbers, and it's been profound. It's been profound. A lot of people have been blessed. People are starting up projects, starting up new projects. So smart note taking, it's really a blend of both strategic planning, active engagement, and your continuous refinement. I like you to write it down. SAC. Should we use SAC or SAR? SAC. Strategic planning, all right, active engagement, and what? Continuous refinement. That's what it is. It tells you for you to be able to be strategic in your planning process. You are engaged in the process as well, and you continue to refine. It is through refinement you can implement key principles and ideas. You can even engage in these practices. All the things that I have said may just be that yours is mind mapping. You just want to become a mind mapper because you know that you are very visual in your learning process. That is it, friends. We have ended the session for tonight. It's 1 hour already since we started off. Thank you so much for being a part of our community. Get ready to be part of our upcoming reading challenge. It is for everybody in the community. No one person is exempted from the reading challenge. If you have participated before, come back again and come and read a new book. And read the book that you've not read before. I'm looking at a time, a season where our reading challenge will be an international one. We're going to have people participating from 100 countries of the world at the same time. They're sharing their thoughts, they are sharing their ideas, they're coming up with innovative blueprints. They are engaged. A lot is just happening. All right, we're looking at that season. It is coming. It is coming. Where we have 1 million persons participating in a challenge like this. Yeah, you can never outgrow the reading challenge. It's a season where you go back to the books that you haven't read before, and you're like, okay, it is time for us to get ourselves on fire again. So smart note taking is a blend of strategic planning, all right, active engagement, and continuous refinement. I hope you take these lessons, practice them. The next time we're going to meet is going to be on Monday morning. The Business Book Club will be taking the lead. They'll be sharing with us a lot around from the work of, I think, Sabri Subi. Yeah, Sabri Subi. So they're going to be sharing from there on business, on sales. Come and listen. Come and be. If you're a business person or you want to start a business, Everybody should be a business person actually, because you have a vision to project, and that's your business. All right. I'm going to see you guys on Monday. If you want to be part of our Reading for Execution Blueprint, you have not participated, there's a link in the description. Please check and send a DM. Join our Telegram community if you are not there, so that you can be part of all the amazing experiences ongoing in the system. Ensure you invite somebody for our next Friday's show. I can't wait to have you and just begin to take this to the next level. Thank you so much for your time. I love you. Bye. Bye bye. See you tomorrow. See you next week.